paid to the consultancy. We've been hearing one story or the other, if not that they are that they are coming to this office. Yes, even the sponsorship of terrorism. See, nobody's above the law. If you say someone is a financier of terrorism, you have to come with hard evidence that could nail the person. But so far, we've not seen. All these things are in the realm of speculation. I am not saying he's not guilty or that he's guilty. But if we want to do something, I think we have to follow the process. Let's not project a picture that actually look like he's being hunted or manhunted or being the new Naira or the new monetary policy is actually against the wish of certain persons within the establishment. And we've heard persons in the politics come out to speak up against it, and they are also clamoring for the INEC chairman, who we also know met some 22 technological innovations, making elections difficult to read. So I wouldn't know why these projections would happen. But then the president should actually come and speak up in this matter, because the president appeared to be different, and we are seeing some other things happening from perhaps the presidency. So I wouldn't know why all this drama and behind. So to me, I think the necessary things should be done, if at all. Emefiele doesn't have immunity, you understand? There is no law conferring immunity on him. If he is a person who has actually gone against the law, the procedures are there, you understand? Than all this drama we are seeing.
All right, Council, are we now looking at the $53 million judgment debt of the Paris Club, or as alleged before now, that he is sponsoring terrorists in Nigeria, and then whatever it is, or are we saying that the political class are against what he has done, and because of this they're looking for giving a dog a bad name to hang it?
I believe your last statement has said it all. There is no doubt about that. The judgment debt, did they say it was Emefiele that was doing it? And the last time I checked, his name wasn't Nigeria.
Yeah.
Neither is his name Nigerian government.
Something that happened under Jonathan.
So
even Obasanjo to
I don't really understand. That is why sometimes when I come on air here, and indeed some other fora, I appear to come down a bit hard on Oga Chief Driver. It's like the proverbial statement by the Igbos, "Ine-enyeji zotazu, nyazu zotaji." You know, you send somebody on errand to go and buy salt, and when the person has bought the salt, you ensure that you drench him with, hose him down with water, only to turn around and say, where is the salt I asked you to buy? This administration appears not to really know what it wants to do at any given point in time. Emefiele came out, first it was the Minister for Finance, after he said we are going to introduce new or redesign currency notes. The Minister for Finance, who controls fiscal policy, came out to say, I don't know anything about that. Emefiele said, this is monetary policy, it's under my domain, you don't need to know about it. And there were, they traded accusations. Emefiele now had to come out to say, I got the approval of Mr. President. At that stage, it looked as if some people backed down a bit. And Oga Chief Driver came out to say, yes, he has my blessing to do it. One would have thought that at that point in time, that would have been the end of the matter. It wasn't to be. Next came the DSS, which coincidentally reports directly to Oga Chief Driver. Emefiele reports directly to Oga Chief Driver. So the clearinghouse is the table of Oga Chief Driver. What are we then saying? That two of his institutions are at loggerheads over a policy he has okayed. Another one is questioning it. And the person heading that particular agency that is questioning the directive of Oga Chief Driver is still retaining his job. Not only is he retaining his job, he has even brazenly gone against the man that is carrying out the directive of Oga Chief Driver, and he is still retaining his seat. It can only happen in Nigeria. It can only happen in so there is no doubt in my own mind that I want to believe it has to do with the redesigning of the Naira, the monetary policies, including the limitation on cash withdrawal, and so on and so forth. Now, coming to say he is sponsoring, I mean, Emefiele is sponsoring terrorism, what are the facts? And come to look at it. On the table of the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation and Oga Chief Driver is a list from Dubai giving names, particulars, and details of people who have been confirmed to be sponsoring terrorism, with details of their participation. Nobody has made any disclosure. At the point, Nigerians were even asking, let us get to know the people. And the man who ought to be prosecuting them turned around, appointed himself the Chief Defense Counsel, that is the Attorney General, and said, no, you cannot do that. We can't reveal their identity and things like that. I wonder really what the fight against corruption is and all whatnot.
All right, Honorable, looking at this, you know, because of also the same policy, this kind of policy that the INEC chairman, the INEC boss, also came up with. You know, at the point, a lot of accusing fingers here and there, assets declaration and so on, just to make sure, asking for his either resign or removed from office because of a policy like this too. Are you also in that same part that it is as a result of these policies that these people are being withdrawn, especially that of Emefiele that is in the news now?
Yeah, that of Emefiele, I think Emefiele is his own is there is a controversy within a controversy. You know, why did I say that? You see, Emefiele is part of the presidency. He's also an APC card-carrying member, and also was a presidential aspirant. You understand? So he should know what is going on in there. But another thing is, just like counsel, you know, fine. I also want to. There's a question that I've been asking on this program which has not been answered. And that question is, who is actually in charge? Is it the president or presidency? You understand? Who is in charge? Because just like counsel pointed out, you have a situation whereby Emefiele reports, as the governor of the central bank reports directly to the president. And then DSS reports directly to the president. The IG reports directly to the president. Now, even the Minister for Finance reports directly to the president. And the president comes out to say, yes, I have okayed a certain policy. That should have that should have nailed the coffin of that argument. But the thing, they are still there, questioning it. These people will go to court, another person will go to court, and the judiciary is also there, you know, playing its own drama, telling you that this person, you have no right to arrest him or investigate him or do whatsoever anything under the law, when this person does not enjoy immunity under the present constitution, 1999 constitution as amended. So that throws the question, who is in charge? Now, talking about the INEC declaration of assets before the Code of Conduct Bureau, if they want, they should petition the Code of Conduct Bureau. And I think that one has been clear. Even when all these things, as all these dramas are playing out, the chief director of the stage drama, and who is supposed to be the chief driver as well, has refused to say anything in that regard. It's like it is a kind of free play. Everybody go and do as he pleases you. You understand? Whosoever he is, now he has made himself an spectator. It's like he's sitting at the gallery watching who will win eventually. And it can only it can only happen in Nigeria. It can only be in our beloved country, Nigeria.
All right. Yesterday, the Minister of Finance, Budget and Planning, Zainab Ahmed, stated that the federal government, at some point, had to borrow funds to buy PMS, that is Premium Motor Spirit, also known as petrol. There's a huge spending on the commodity. Now we are talking about borrowing money to buy PMS, that is petrol, in Nigeria. And let me also, this time, let me start from the middle. Council. That is the Minister of Finance and Budget Planning. For this to have come from her, that automatically means that is what is happening.
That is the lady.
The same lady.
That claimed she went about during the lockdown sharing money with helicopter all over Nigeria. And when she was asked to bring when she was asked to bring the list, the section of the building where she said that particular list was kept was gutted by fire over the weekend. And by the next Monday, there was nothing to be preserved. Is that not the lady we are talking about?
She is.
Yeah, that's the same lady who is challenging Emefiele. The same lady that said there's nothing like subsidy with her boss, and yet they are paying it. That's the same lady we are talking about. Am I right?
Yeah.
Well, I've had this question bothering me since. When we were buying petrol at less than 1 naira, it was said to be subsidized. It went to below 10 naira, it was still subsidized. From there, on and on and on, till now, that we are buying at almost 400 naira, it is still being subsidized. And they are still paying subsidy. And yet people are buying it at 400 and something.
About this subsidy, though that is not the bone of contention for now.
Yes. My dear brothers, you know, in this, let me borrow your language, it is now free play. This country has gone on autopilot.
I think the
everybody just do as you like. While Oga chief driver is still talking with his ear, body language, you know, the ear twitches, the ear says something, the elbow says something, the shoulder says something.
Yes, I think the administration is winding up. Administration is winding up, and perhaps is looking for where to split the debt profile, or the debt as it may have to do with what they have borrowed. Just that we have a record. To me, it's quite obscene that a country like ours had to borrow money to buy PMS. I don't understand that level of joke. But the truth remains that we've not really interrogated what is happening. You see, when under
who are you going to interrogate?
I'm coming.
The chief driver that is married with the nation.
You see, under her predecessor, Kemi Adeosun, the one we heard had an issue with NYSC certificate and the rest of them. The woman announced, Kemi Adeosun announced with her mouth that subsidy had ended, and that in its place was introduced or was put what they call under-recovery payment. And when we started interrogating or studying under-recovery payment, we saw that by under-recovery payment, the NNPC became the sole marketer of the product. And it's not supposed to be like that. In a capitalist economy, the NNPC now became the sole marketer through its subsidiary known as the Nigerian Petroleum Product Marketing Company. The NNPC now market this product. The independent marketers, that's the IPMAN, now became buyers, understand, from the NNPC. Now see what happened. The NNPC now controlled everything, and the NNPC is under the Ministry of Petroleum. And the Minister of Petroleum, as we speak, is the President. Now, it became more difficult for the IPMAN and the rest of them, you understand, to access this product, because this product will land in motor vessels. Now owners of tank farm and depot, private owners of the depot will now pay for ship. As in, they will pay hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, the president could not make available dollar because of the following the same regime we are operating, the price of this product became so high. Now, the Minister of State for Petroleum was actually saying that if not for subsidy, they were paying. After they denied paying subsidy, if not for subsidy, they were paying. That Nigerians will be buying this product for 400 naira today. How much is the price? So it means that the president has failed as a Minister of Petroleum. You understand? His Minister of State also failed. Then the Minister of Finance need to be asked questions, because we are not asking questions. See, the debt burden today, as we speak, is 77 trillion naira, and that is what the next administration is inheriting. You look at it, you see that the scam. Had it not been that Peter Obi was even bold enough to come out and talk about oil theft, no, we wouldn't have heard about the contracting of Tompolo and the rest of them to go and uncover where you buried facilities, and we are channeling these products outside the shores of this country.
All right, there is more to that, because I would remember most of us who are Nigerians here, and some of you, a historian, and so many of you who are current with the affairs of this country will remember when the federal government also talked about renovating and fixing the
refinery. Unfortunately, they are not working.
Billions of naira.
They are not working. They still do TAM, turnaround maintenance, with billions of dollars.
So, Honorable, I know you've been a lawmaker in the local government. A lawmaker is a lawmaker. I'm talking about borrowing.
You and your senior colleagues.
Yes. Talking about borrowing money to buy PMS.
Yeah.
You know, in so many other corners, a lot of people will say it's unheard of, and then in this country. But if this is coming from the Federal Minister of Finance and Budget Planning, that means it's a fact.
Honestly, some of our legislators, like especially my senior colleagues, at the National Assembly, should bury their faces in shame. In fact, it will be out of place if I use this medium to call for the resignation of the Senate President and that of the Speaker of the House of Representatives. Because, you see, because we do not have, because they are one party, we don't have checks and balances. And these are not men of conscience. Nigeria has been sold. That's what it is. We have sold not just mortgage, we've sold Nigeria to APC. And APC is, if we had sold Nigeria to a foreign country, probably they would have been more lenient and more compassionate.
More humane.
To us that have sold our country to them. But we have sold our country to our own people, and they are enslaving the citizens more than we have ever suffered, even during the colonial eras. Can we imagine that this the Speaker, as well as the Senate President and the entire National Assembly, will be there, and all this whole drama is playing out? Now, just like a comrade, stated earlier, this current Minister of Finance is trying to betray what her predecessor said. They remember then, she was still Minister of State for Finance. Yeah. So she was there. They told Nigerians that subsidy had
ended.
Removed.
Yeah, they said that.
I wonder how many times this subsidy will remove.
And they are ending it from May of this year, after Buhari has left.
And after when this lady assumed office, the subsidy that was dead suddenly reincarnated again, and the substantive Minister of Petroleum is saying nothing about it. The National Assembly that was supposed to call the executive to question is not doing anything about it. So, and now when you stop, it is either they send whether they have been sent or they come on their voluntarily. It is either the unknown gunmen versus the unknown ones. They will come after you, and or the bandits or anything. So you begin to worry. Where are we heading to? No, excuse me.
Yes.
No, where are we heading to? Just like one of the presidential candidates was in London just not too long ago. He told us that he has been saying it anyway, but he reaffirmed it again, that this oil subsidy, this petroleum subsidy, is scam. It's a fraud. It's criminal.
Yes, I want to learn the criminals who.
What is it?
Yes, you see, the work of the legislature is into three: representation, lawmaking, and oversight. Oversight to me is the chiefest. Unfortunately, these people don't even oversight all parastatals, agencies, and the administration of government. Now, can you imagine that the president submitted or proposed a budget of 20.1 trillion naira? At the end of the day, it was 21.8 trillion naira. They inserted 1.32 billion into the project. What did they do? They increased the budget of ministries and
yes,
and what have you. Who knows? It is just for what? To increase the money available to them.
Yeah,
now, see. The truth is that I heard the senior president the other day say Nigeria cannot go on his birthday. I call it hypocrisy. It was under him that President Muhammad Buhari was borrowing, and he said that the president was borrowing in the interest of the country. Today he has come back to say we cannot go borrowing. But
all right.
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Whatever it is, Nigerians, I'm sure you are watching and you are listening. But I also wanted to know that whatever thing that is said here has nothing to do with the living television. These are grown gentlemen of from various walks of life and professionals on their own. So they are entitled to their opinion. It has nothing to do with the living television. Having said that, the Atikus rally in Ekiti State was shown by former governor of the state, Ayodele Fayose, and also the former governorship candidate, BC Kolawole. The acting PDP state chairman even was not the Lanre Omolase, and even seven of the 9 PDP National Assembly candidates were not there. 20 out of the 26 National Assembly members were equally not there. And then
State Assembly,
and even National Assembly. Many of them were not in that rally. What does this mean? What is it for Atiku? What is Atiku's expectation in Ekiti State? Let me start with you again, Council.
Well, remember that each political terrain is unique, has its own peculiarities. I'm aware, for example, that a timetable was drawn up by the Atiku Presidential Campaign Council, and after people had taken dates, adjusted, along the line, that particular timetable has also seen several adjustments. So when you keep adjusting, like you said earlier, these are grown men who have their own plans also. Don't also forget that the other candidates equally have their own plans and campaigns to run. So if it now turns out that the particular presidential campaign rally has now been readjusted or rescheduled to a date when the others are not going to be around, like the Igbos will say, I mean, it will be self first before they go to any other person. Then, apart from that, do not also overlook what has been happening in the BDP in recent times. The issue of the G5 governors, and indeed the stance of some socio-political groups tending to, take sides here and there. There are several issues that are begging for attention to be discussed on all the sides. It's not peculiar to Atiku. No. By the time you pick Emilogo, sorry, what's that his name again? Bat. Yes. By the time you pick, yes, that's Emilogo. By the time you pick him, his own issue, I think it's even worse. By the time you go to Kwankwaso, the same thing. You come to P2P, the same thing. They all have their own issues here and there. I mean, socio-political.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Even one of them is facing serious litigation now that he is not a Nigerian.
Okay.
Yes, his citizenship is now being challenged.
So
and
the,
if he has
the
dual
judge has
citizenship,
threatened to strike out the matter if the needful is not done.
yes,
I think the matter has been adjourned to the 10th of
yes,
April or something.
yes, that is what the judge should do. If you do not come forward to prove your case, it is one thing to file the case, institute it in court. It's another thing to prove it and then get judgment in your favor. So if they don't go to the point, the underscoring I am making is that each of them at any given point in time seems to have something that is quite worrisome to contend with.
All right, Honorable, do you think Ayodele Fayose is joining the G5 governors and by not attending articles, and that is his political party, and so many others?
Is he a governor?
Chairman.
Is he a governor?
No, he's a member of the integrity group. So the integrity group is the larger of the G5. The G5 is the engine room, but then the
sympathizers.
Okay, because even the acting state chairman of the party, who is not contesting.
He's not the substantive chairman.
Let us not make a move let us not make a mountain out of a molehill. You see, Bola Tinubu was in Enugu the other day. The officials of the party, they were having issues. Also, state the boycott. In fact, one man like that is still being harangued for not attending Bola Tinubu's rally. You understand? The same thing is happening. If they are having an intra-party crisis, all of them, even the Labour Party, so-called, there are places where, in fact, in Lagos State, they were celebrating the other day, they ordered by court to sack some persons who have been occupying position in the party and wouldn't let elections be conducted. So I think it is one of the things we talk about when we say internal democracy. We have that problem.
But the thing is that you have to consider the ratio, the magnitude of the problem.
Yes.
Weigh them. You understand? Whose own weighs higher? Yeah. Whose one is weightier?
I don't know the indices you will use.
To run
into the issue.
But all those things are
the important thing is that each of them is facing
internal party.
Yes, each of them has his own.
There are those whose own is internal.
Some are internal,
some are external.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
There are, after all these issues are there in the public space.
Each of them has issues in.
Are they internal?
No, but the question
there is no. Tell me one of them. An internal.
They have
the question was
has internal issues too.
They have.
No, the question
has internal
yes.
No. There are cases of
they are managing it very well.
No, they
are managing. So that is why it's not
no.
Point out one.
No.
Point out one or two.
They have.
Okay, we are not talking. Once they have it, they have it.
How they have is not the internal. But the important thing is that they have.
All right, before we go on break, let us just take one. Justice Abiola Soladaye of an Ikeja Sexual Offense and Domestic Violence Court yesterday convicted and sentenced a 27-year-old electrician Olamide Ayodele to life imprisonment for defiling the 8-year-old daughter of his benefactor. The question is, let me also start with you as a lawyer. The question is this life imprisonment, is it as a result of the girl being a minor, or is this the supposed punishment for a rapist?
In Nigeria, criminal offenses are created by law. It is the law that says it is an offense. If the law says to lift this communication gadget, it's an offense, and that in the event of your lifting it, upon conviction, there are two aspects to it. The conviction, which is the pronouncement of guilt, and then the sentencing, which is imposition of a sanction. These two will come into play. Sometimes the court can also convict you, but not impose a sentence and say, go and sin no more, in which case you are cautioned.
Almost free and
No, not free. You are cautioned and discharged. The caution is the conviction.
Okay.
It renders you an ex-convict.
Ah.
Yes, sir.
Even without entering the
Yes, sir.
Ah, okay.
The caution is the conviction, and that it is that conviction that makes you an ex-convict.
Yeah. And this is enforceable too.
Not that it is
No,
enforceable. You have. It's like a stigma.
Okay.
You have already acquired it.
Yes.
The sentencing is now a different thing entirely, whereby the court now has a discretion. The court can go lower, but not higher in criminal matters.
Okay.
So you could go for life sentencing. The court can also look at the facts of the case, maybe during what you call allocutus. The court would ask that, first, is there any previous conviction, whether you are a first offender. The fact that you are a first offender tends to reduce the weight of the punishment,
Okay.
whereas a repeated offender would attract a higher punishment. Secondly, being the fact that this is a girl, a little girl, you have more or less also interfered with her physically, psychologically, emotionally for life. It will also weigh on the mind of the court to impose the highest punishment available. Looking also at the demeanor of the defendant during trial, if I set this man free too quickly, is he likely to go back to similar offense? Now look at what the man did, the person. He did it to the child of his benefactor. Now, you already, by each of these ingredients I'm bringing up, I can see even from your faces, you're beginning to put yourselves in the position of the judge.
Yeah.
Such a man, upon conviction, assuming, Mr. Moderator, you were the judge, or even comrade or you, may not escape without the highest punishment allowable under the law. First, it is the law that stipulates it, but you can always go lower, not higher. So if the law says life imprisonment, you cannot, for example, sentence the person to death.
Okay.
Yes, which is a capital offense. The highest there is the life sentence. Or the judge can look at it and say, okay, I hereby sentence you to 50 years.
Or 200 years in prison.
Yes, it is still, it is 200 years is less than life imprisonment. Yes, assuming you are.
Yes, I think when Buhari took over, some persons back 99 years in prison.
Yes.
Some back 100.
200. Yes. There was somebody, I think, what's the name of that guy that's a government money, government house?
Why I ask this question and then is because there are too many rape cases.
Yeah.
And too many rape cases.
Yes.
I think it's only very few of them that will come out with this either sentencing.
Yes, I
times,
think-
like
yes.
Riley said, cautioned and allowed to go.
Yes, I think in most cases we don't.
But this one looks heavier.
Yes, in most cases, parents or some other persons involved don't publicize.
Because of this stigmatization.
Yes, yes. because of the-
Let me introduce something, sir. Sorry to cut you short. When a person under a certain age is sexually abused, you give it another name. Yes, the general name is rape. But when a minor is involved, you now refer to it as defilement. Because a minor is involved.
Yeah.
It's very intricate and very, would I say, dicey to deal with. Prosecution must be begun within 3 months of the commission of the offense for the case of the minor. Whereas for an adult, time does not really run against the state. That is the main rape that all of us know, which is interference, sexual molestation or abuse without consent. In the case of the minor or people under 16, now going by the provisions of the Child Rights Act, it is 18. Consent is immaterial.
Yeah.
Consent, the fact that the girl consented, let's say she is 15 years old, and she said, "Okay, go ahead and do it," and you do it, and you told her tomorrow to say she consented. It's neither here nor there. Again, the fact that she lied about her age, don't worry, I'm up to 30 years, and you know there are some kids you see, and they even look older than 30. So the fact that everything happened to have suggested that indeed she was beyond the age of consent, over and above it, is immaterial, and that is why you refer to it as statutory rape.
Okay.
It is the statute. The statute means written law. It is the written law that has made it an offense, taking out the issue of consent.
The issue of consent,
yes.
Okay, I don't know, Nze, would you have anything to add? Because when we talk about rape, we are all fathers here, except for one, I don't know the person. We are all fathers here.
Why are all of you looking at? No, why all of you looking at Conway? It's also in your own interest that we properly, because we are here to inform, to educate, okay? That we properly inform and educate the public that we are eligible and marketable.
This capitalism.
We are your friends.
But yes, but I love his submission. You see, he made wonderful. In fact, he did justice to it. I don't even know what else to add. But you see, cases like this, like defilement, as he now taught it is. So in most instances, they will undergo two scientific tests. You understand? And to establish the level of damage done. But this is something that accompanies the victim sometimes to their grave. A family member told me something, why she was victimizing an elderly person in her family. I asked her, why are you doing this? She confided in me. She said, that time we were young, he will call me and start fumbling with my body parts, sensitive parts of my body. And each time I see him, I get livid. And in most cases, such person, they could be suicidal or they could be
depression.
Yes, depression sets in, and then I know that
it's not an easy thing to recover from.
It's not easy. So
the psyche of the person
and
is
the emotional trauma.
Yes.
The thing is that I think this thing is becoming a global issue.
It is.
You understand? It's a global issue.
much was reported during the lockdown.
Yes, I listened to one of the radio stations around their news this morning, and it was alleged that London, that the British police is now trying to do a cleanup. It's about 800 policemen are the verge of being losing their jobs now for sexual harassment, molestation, and all that. Policemen in London, so it's happening all around.
It happens here. What about our soldiers?
Just like a comrade, said, the thing is that as a parent, as an adult, when you hear this kind of thing, you understand. If you are like friends to any of these ladies and they are able to confide in you, to tell you their experiences, you understand. You no need to wonder why some ladies are hostile to men. That is why some of them have decided to become femalists.
You mean lesbians? You don't want to
I say celibate. Some of them are celibate.
Why some are lesbians?
Yes, why some are lesbians? Well, it's because of this kind of, either when they were abused, when they were minors, and their parents couldn't pursue it. And I had one around my neighborhood.
In most cases, they have been inherited by the victim.
Yes,
like the case of
this minor was 6.
Raped by father and son.
This minor was 6 when she was sexually abused. You know what? That her abuser told her that if you dare mention it to anyone, you will die. And this child did not mention it to until the mother was observant. The mother was not like, each time he was beating the child, she will not discuss this child. Once she come to that,
she was reacting to.
Yes,
she was being sensitive.
Now she started investigating, and the child was saying, "Mommy, I will die. Mommy, they said I will die." He said, "Nobody will kill you. You will not die. Tell me, you're my child." Even the mother had to dramatize it. Went somewhere, plucked one leaf, and flogged it all over her body, and said, "Because of this, you will not die." And this child opened up. So you can imagine that it's happening almost on a daily basis. But and I also want to encourage.
And yet there's a liberalization of sexual rights.
I want to encourage parents, you understand, who see these things happen, to come up, report to the police, report to go. I don't even encourage them to go to the lower rank. Let them go to the superior officers and at the police station and report. I'm sure something will be done. This man is just one case, and let the media also publicize this kind of cases. It will help to reduce it.
No.
All
Sorry, sir.
This one was in court and it was publicized.
Hold on. The intendment of the law is that such cases should receive as minimal publicity as possible, especially on the part of the victim, not yes. Okay. That's why, even when the minor victim is giving evidence, the trial is usually in camera.
Okay.
They may do it inside the chambers of the judge.
And they should mention the person's name.
No. Most times you will see, even in reportage, name withheld. But in sociology, the intendment of, sometimes the law enforcement agents would know where you have red light districts, women of easy virtue, and yet allow them, not because they are encouraging anything, but so that some of these guys whose testosterone level is running high can use it as a city of refuge, if you understand what I mean. Particularly trailer drivers, tanker trailer drivers. Those people, yes. We used to have them at Umunede. 7th mile. Sadly, now in our backyard here, if you know what is happening here,
just nice, Sodom and Gomorrah.
It's quite it's really sad. So
all right, our wonderful viewers, we're going to go on a very, very short break. What they are saying is that we have what they call sexplosion these days. And then why must you engage yourself in this? And like the young man who just spent the 7 years and who defiled that little girl of 8 years. And tomorrow you want to have your own children. Why can't you control yourself? Well, we are going to go on a very short break. When we come back, Nigeria Today continues. Don't go away. Keep watching Living TV until we are back.
Allow me to enjoy myself. I love you.
Have you heard that Living Television, the latest satellite station on SatView channel, is received all over Nigeria and Africa? You can watch Living Television on every free-to-air HD decoder, including Strong HD and CSAT HD. Why keep paying for monthly subscriptions when you can have fun for free? With Living Television, you can watch lots of wrestling, football, documentaries, and Nigerian films, including discussions and debates on current Nigeria issues. Watch free live matches on La Liga Spain come Serie A, Italy come Bundesliga, German League 1, and French matches on over 80 premium channels. Wow! You can also sponsor your programs such as live church services and crusades, political rallies, burial and wedding ceremonies, promotional interviews, announcements, advertisements, documentaries, and commercials. We are situated at number 1 Jeji Street off Ikorebane Road, Aba, Abia State. For further enquiries, call 0805 367 3900. Signed, Management.
I love you.
And so you can keep on watching Living TV. I can say in pidgin English, Living TV. Nade Kampe.
Moving ahead, the Senate President, Ahmed Lawan, has declared the state is ready to approve the 23.7 trillion naira debt restructuring request made by President Muhammadu Buhari December last year.
Yes.
The Senate President said that they are approving. Let me start with you, Comrade.
Yes. I think I did say here, as if I knew this was coming or as if I foresaw it. I did say here that during his, I think, 65th birthday or something, he was being interviewed. The Senate President said Nigeria can no longer do borrowing, that they had to look inwards and begin to do what? Expand the revenue base of the country. But I said that, to me, that was not just a hogwash, it was hypocrisy. And I would expect the money they are looking to consider, now see what is happening, is what is known as ways and means advances. And it is simply the method or the process through which the federal government borrow from the CBN. And what is it all about? The law says that the federal government, that the CBN, I'm talking about the CBN Act now, says the CBN can lend to the federal government as a lender of last resort, in quotes, the lender of last resort, and that the money must be returned within this financial year, which means if you borrow today, you pay back today. Now, the ways and means advance under President Goodluck stood less than 1 trillion naira, about 976 billion naira or 796 billion naira there. But under President Muhammadu Buhari, it has grown to 22 trillion naira. And that is what they are looking to now address. Now, the president in the last budget, after the last budget, now made a proposal before the National Assembly. He urged them to restructure this debt to cover a period of 40 years. That is what they say. And I'm talking about 20 thereby indebting
after him.
Mortgaging. You see, we need to begin to educate Nigerians. It is no longer debt profile. Debt profile is different. This one is debt burden. You understand? When you begin to talk about the ratio or the relationship between the GDP and the debt, if it is sovereign, we now begin to talk about debt profile. We are talking about debt burden. This nation is burdened. And if you look at the general debt, it's about 77 trillion naira. Who is going to amortize? It is the future. It's not just about now. This is what they are okay, so that the budget, which is already 12.1 trillion deficit, can actually pass. They will go borrowing now beyond their means. So it is what it is. But in all honesty, to me, I think this should also help Nigerians, guide us to make an informed decision come 2023 election.
Yeah, Council, you know, the last time Mr. President PMB said it's fulfilled and has nothing to regret or to come back to Aso Rock 4 after his handover. You know, and then we are talking about these amount of money in debt. How will Nigeria recover this?
I would have loved to ask President Muhammadu Buhari if
Buhari are not the Buhari, right?
Oh, okay. If he had inherited this debt profile from Goodluck, Jonathan, Yar'Adua, and Obasanjo, who brought him to zero indebtedness from the Paris Club, whether he would have been able to even put petrol in his official vehicle as a president. It is so sad, so terribly sad and unconscionable on the part of the Senate to continue to patronize Mr. President. We have a Senate that presently has no conscience. Absolutely. The president, I make both, that is my opinion, and I stand by it. It has nothing to do with the living TV. The present Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has no conscience. They do not, just that they don't mean well for this nation, they mean evil and wickedness for the. I'm sorry I'm coming down hard. How can you, even when we are recovering monies through alert being given to us from the land of the dead by Abacha, when we get it, rather than use it to pay off some of the service the debt profile, you will share it amongst faceless people. go back to the same Senate and the Senate will approve another loan for you. The only job this Senate has succeeded in doing under these 8 years has been approving loan, approving loan, approving loan. They mean evil and wickedness for this nation. Now, see what they are going to do. Some of them are not going to return to the Senate.
And they will say their surveillance package.
They are going ahead in line with the request by Oga Chief Driver to sell this country for the next 40 years. Imagine if you divide 40 by 4. That will now give you the next 10 administrations that will stand mortgaged because of the tenure of one man. Because of the tenure of one man. Those before him made every effort to reduce the debt profile before they came on board. God bless people like President Olusegun Obasanjo. God bless President Musa Yar'Adua. God bless President Goodluck Jonathan. They all tried, brought our economy to be the best in Africa and one of the best in the world. And what do we have today? Today we are the poverty capital of the world. And somebody is telling me that he has no regret. Why? Yeah, why would he? And how old is he? How many years is he? If we give him the next 50 years, I'm not sure that in the next 40 years that a lot of people are still going to be around. But this country has been sold for the next 40 years, in addition to what is already pending. A situation where even the highest lender on earth that lends without checking anything, China, has now turned around to say, I will no longer lend to Nigeria. You people are now insolvent. You can no longer repay the one where I give you now. You don't do.
I think.
All right.
I'm really
we also have to
upset.
understand that it is not only. This one is just internal debt. It's not about the one you are owing either IMF, the World Bank, the AFD, that's African Development Bank, or the EXIM, that's China Export and Import Bank. We are owing a lot of multilateral institutions, and then it is not letting up. We are still piling more.
And the same Senate.
That is why every other year the budget is deficit, because we are using a greater chunk to service debt. But see, I'm trying to say this. You see, we have ministries that are supposed to be making money for this federation. They return zero. They post nothing, no profit, no return. They post nothing, and I can begin to nine posts is still functioning. 9 posts is still functioning and collecting budgets. The Nigerian Railway Commission, they are all there. So why do we run this bogus administration? Why?
All right, Honorable, we've had it. Nigeria is almost, the other time I said it's almost sold. Somebody said it's sold already.
Yes.
It's sold already.
China is the major shareholder.
So, Honorable, look at that, and we know that this administration, when they came into power, there were 3 basic things. And then I think that was one of the bases for why many of us voted them into power: security, corruption, and
yeah, you're right. Corruption.
Yes,
corruption.
Yeah,
Mr. Moderator got it. They came in for corruption. They came in. I take the first one you said. They came in for corruption. They came in to finish the economy, and they came in for insecurity. And they are achieving
These
it.
were the 3 cardinal points mentioned. And like Comrade will say the other day, these 3 things, now we have seen nothing concerning them. Look at the level of indebtedness.
I blame this whole thing on those who have voted to go there and represent us in the National Assembly, the House of Representatives, and the Senate. I've said it here before. I'm still repeating. Let me be held responsible for my opinion here. I'm calling for the resignation of the Senate President and the Speaker of the House of Representatives. If they feel they have good conscience for this country, they have no moral standing to still remain in office up to that, even to approve, let alone approving this loan request from the made by.
I can't resign. Let's use our PVC.
They should even go before the election.
Yes.
They ought to go before the
What you
election.
don't understand, if you're talking about that, excuse me, they will stay till June.
No,
June.
Yes, after this.
That's when the house will dissolve.
And the Senate president is not running for any election.
That's when the ninth.
So he knows he's going. And he knows a damaging director.
As it is now, he has nothing to lose.
He's going to be a damaging director from now to 29th of May.
Foremost, we still
Not
have
29th of May, 11th of June.
We have about foremost left.
They will be there till 11th of June.
Yes, the new house will be constituted.
Yes, the
Can I
Sorry, my brother.
So you see,
Pardon our anger.
no, you should use your PVC to vent that your anger on the regime. But so you see, now he's not even being remorseful. He's not even bringing to the table, as in calculating how much that his administration, his office as the Senate President of this ninth Assembly had given. How much approval they have given to Mr. President, and they are still borrowing more. I can bet you that after this approving this very one, next foremost is still a long way. They will still come with another.
Supplementary
one loan, and he will still approve it. And Nigerians are suffering. You understand? I charge the labor, the organized labor, to come up against this, and then other social groups to also come against it. Now we have discovered that the National Assembly has failed us. The only thing we have to do now is to mount socio-political pressure on them, like the Nigerian Labour Congress, go on strike, threaten the National Assembly, even the National Assembly Service Commission to also go on. All of us are Nigerians. We are all feeling the pain. Let them go on strike. Let them bring punitive measure against the National Assembly. That's the only thing that can stop them from approving this law. So that let us stop that so far. Otherwise, if they go ahead and approve this law, I told you that we have already sold this nation to the National Assembly, who have in turn sold it to China and other. So Nigeria is being traded.
All right, away from that, the Minister of Police Affairs, Mohammed Dangiadi, on Tuesday, yesterday, during a meeting with the Global Security Organization, announced that the International Criminal Police Organization, Interpol, and the West African Police Information Program, WAPIS, are to support Nigeria fight insecurity. Minister said he's bringing in these people, and then the question is, you are a security consultant. The question is it not belated? Do we still have time? And how long will this take to happen? Considering on a daily basis we keep hearing about terrorists, those who are kidnapping, those who are killing and maiming people, and now he's now talking about the Interpol and the WAPIS. Barrister.
Well, let me say, for the records, it's never too late to do the right thing.
Okay.
First. Secondly, no amount of influence, no amount of effort by the Interpol and the WAPIS, even by our own security personnel, no amount of effort, internally and externally, would yield any good result unless the political will to make the difference exists. There has to be a paradigm shift. I made mention earlier of a list of sponsors of terrorism made available to us. That list, if it had been generated from within Nigeria, we would have used all kinds of bad mouthing to, consign it to the garbage bin. But because it came from outside, where, of course, the people there were talking from records they already
from their own
have.
investigation.
Their own investigation. And so it became difficult for Nigeria to impugn the integrity of the report itself. What we now did is that the people who are supposed to be the arrowhead of the fight against terrorism now became the public relations officers of terrorists, became the advocates of terrorists. The man who is supposed to principally prosecute them, became the Defense Counsel. I'm talking about the Attorney General of the Federation. Let us know the people. No, I'm not going to release the list. Okay, proceed against them. No. You just, like the proverbial dog in the manger, eat grass. No. Allow goats to go and eat grass. No. You just stay there and block everything. That is why, do not forget, he is the chief law officer of the nation. At the end of the day, every security agency derives its power and authority to act, because in the event of your being found culpable, the state will deal with you through the court. And that falls under the purview of the office of the Attorney General, whether at the state level or federal level, whose duty it is to prosecute all criminal cases and on whose authority these agencies prosecute. That's why the AG can take over any criminal case. He can also enter what you call a nolle to discontinue any criminal case. He has no time to give any explanation or apology for it. So where this man who is supposed to be the crusader is now defending and shielding them, what do you expect? There's no amount of effort by anybody, Interpol, just name it, anything you like.
All right.
It's not going to yield any.
All right, comrade.
Success.
Coming to you, remember, shortly before the Kuje prison break.
Yes.
Shortly before that, there were a lot of information and announcement.
Yes.
Before it happened.
Yes.
Instead, the military personnel that were involved were withdrawn.
Yeah.
Shortly before the attack.
Yes.
What is actually happening in our security
outfit
here in Nigeria?
Thank you so much. It still remains my opinion, my personal opinion, that the security architecture of this country is compromised. And when I say it is compromised, I mean state actors and non-state actors are working in tandem to undermine it every day, and we are seeing the result. I did say, do you know what it means to give out 44 intelligence reports? 44 intelligence reports to relevant authorities to act on time to prevent this from happening. Do you know what happened? They moved the security information station there away. They gave an order, the security information station there moved away. And these persons came in motorbikes, had a few days, Operation La 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 stayed for about 2 or 3 hours. No resistance, they were not beaten back, they were not repelled. They had a few days, they freed their own. It was not long. We now heard that the last tranche of the train abductees, of the Kaduna train abduction has been released. And it speaks to something. You understand that non-state actors and state actors are acting together. We've heard in this country where people, even clergy or clerical persons, you understand, we go into the bush to advocate, to become armchair diplomats, speaking armchair diplomats, speaking for terrorist groups, and nothing has happened. We remember also the revelations of Obadiah Meilafia, where is he today? So I think what is happening to us, whether we want to bring in America, whether we want to bring in
Russia,
CIA, or whether we want to bring in the Russia Wagner group, which has been in Mali and everywhere in Africa, we have to begin internally. And that internal assignment begins with what Council say. Political will. The president, who is the commander of chief, should not appear to be losing his command. He must be seen to be enforcing his command every other day. You see, I was disappointed when the president arrived at the scene of the Kuje prison and made that expression. I was shocked. Now see, do you know that as we speak today, the president has what you call security briefing, intelligence report, intel report. There are reports coming to him, and he has aides and assistants who are digesting, helping him to understand these things. But if at all there is no decisive action on the part of the security architecture, then we keep having this repeatedly. Elections are around the corner. Yesterday, attack happened at INEC facility in Enugu. We are concerned that in places like Oru East, Oru West, Njaba, and the rest of them, whether elections we hold there. Now, as we speak, 40 local government councils out of 774 are under the effective occupation of non-state actors, chiefly bandits. Not when I mean effective occupation, I want to explain. Under international law, if effective occupation means where an authority, whether state actor or non-state actor, is administering, they are collecting taxes, and that is what tax administration. People no longer access their funds except they pay something to non-state actors. And where you have 500 firearms, you understand, in sub-Saharan Africa, now they say 70-something% of it, that is 350 million of these firearms, are in Nigeria, where we have only 800,000 firearms combinedly. It means we could easily be overrun.
All right, Honorable, talking about insecurity in this country and talking about importation, and from this analysis so far made, and then if in Nigeria, whether the AGF, whosoever the justice, the Minister of Justice in the country, if they are aware of these persons mentioned who are sponsoring the terrorists, and until today, they've not been brought to book, what then? What are we expecting? And remember also, as you talk, recently, a lot of people had complained that the service chiefs are from one particular tribe and one religion. And that is why this thing has continued. So,
yes, moderator, the thing is, I'm looking at it from two perspectives. One is that politically, them talking about engaging Interpol, Interpol machineries now to come help us fight insecurity. I stand to be corrected. Through the passage of time, we've discovered that this is a prelude to another borrowing or loan proposal to the National Assembly.
To pay them?
Yes, to pay them. Except you mark this date. That is what is going to happen. They are plotting it. So they will now go approach the National Assembly again to give them the enablement to borrow, to be able to fund this, because they know that the insecurity, yes, once you mention insecurity, everyone is everyone is a victim. So, and everyone is interested in it. So they are now heading again to borrow to help us fight insecurity. Then, talking about all the security chiefs coming from one geopolitical zone of this country, that one is belated. We have cried tears and cried blood, and nothing happened. So, not now that the administration is winding up, whatever cry you would, even if you scream or shout, it will mean to amount to nothing.
Thank you.
So the best thing now for us is just let's accept our fate the way it has befallen us, and then move ahead and pray that not the worst. Let's hope that we have passed the worst, that the worst will not come and catch up with us before this administration finally winds up. But the thing here is this: just like comrade, brought our attention to the number of local governments that are under the control of this, but we call it bandits, call it armed militias, call it Boko Haram, whatever name that is called, is criminal, under all these criminals. The thing is that they also adjudicate. Yes, they adjudicate.
Yes, they hold courts.
Yes, they have their own courts now, have their own attorney general and
yes, they have their prosecutors,
yes,
they have their enforcers.
They have the enforcers.
Yes. Niger State is the worst of.
They have their own laws.
No, from here, Tiala to come out of Poli to ask and order the CBN governor to extend.
Yes.
You know what? The president just shocked us only yesterday. He said they have spent $1 billion to recover territory. They have spent $1 billion.
Well, because of our time, gentlemen, the Igbo Apex Socio-Cultural Organization, Ahanes Ndigbo, has called on all the Southeast governors to support the Anambra counterpart, Professor Soludo, to ensure that Nnamdi Kanu is released, by the federal government. Let me start with you.
Okay.
Before now, it looks as if the governors are doing nothing.
They are doing nothing, yes. I remember vividly, Soludo has met with Nnamdi Kanu, yes, some time ago. And as it is,
and ask the president to release Nnamdi Kanu.
Some of the governors we are even talking about were part of the problem. I'm sorry to say it. They were the ones that first proscribed IPOB before the federal government now gazetted that IPOB is now a terrorist group. You understand? They were the first to proscribe, to say that IPOB should be proscribed. But I do not know what that actually achieved for us. Now, if you look at it, you see that since the rendition of Nnamdi Kanu, you understand, from Kenya allegedly back to Nigeria, we've seen where the break of the government is put. And I've actually seen the carefree attitude of the state governors, the four of them. You understand? Only Soludo is the new person there, and he was not there from the get-go of the Lion and the Kano issue. So I think the court has actually ruled, and council will do more justice to that. The court has actually ruled. I'm talking about the appeal court of the land has actually ruled and said Nnamdi Kanu should be free. Then Malami, who should be the custodian of our law, went ahead and interpreted the case the way it suits him or the way it pleases him, and proceeded. We know where we are today. But the fact remains that Ohanese Ndigbo, other groups, you understand, should be talking, because we are the ones suffering this thing. Every Monday, our children don't go to school. We sit back here, businesses are shrinking, household finances are shrinking. All these things, we are the ones behind the front. And the man in Abuja or the people in Abuja, they don't even care as far as this goes. And as we are having now, we've seen that this is beginning to threaten elections in the southeast. I have mentioned places. Now, Imo State, you understand? I don't want to talk about Enugu because some experts are saying that Enugu attack on IDA facilities seem to be politically motivated. You understand? Yes. Now, if you look at places like
making sure that because
okay. If you look at places like Oru East, Oru West, some part of Igato, you see that we've been having constant exchange of fire, then duel, and then skirmishes between unknown gunmen or forces allegedly said to be ESN and the Nigerian military, and it does not bode well for us.
All right, Council. You know, sometime the governor of Anambra State has applied that Nnamdi Kanu be given to him on bail. He'll sign a surety for him. And before now, we also know that the Court of Competent Jurisdiction had released, discharged, and even acquitted before the reinterpretation by the Attorney General of the Federation. And now that they are asking the governor, is there anything the governors can do to bring him out of that place?
Certainly, there's a lot the governors can do. Even one governor, just one, can make the difference. If they are acting in concert, it will go a long way. However, it's going to be difficult. Okay. In this part of the world, we have our grievances against APC. I mean, Southeast generally. Do not forget that one of the governors is APC, and he came into office in a manner that has remained shrouded in controversy till next week. The other one, who is about the youngest, Soludo, is also from a different political party, seen endemically as Igbo party, that is ABGA. The other one in Ebonyi is APC, and whereas the mainstream IPOB that we know under Nnamdi Kanu appears to be taking a second look at the entire issue that it has engaged in Southeast, and appears to be more now amenable to reason. There is a faction, the autopilots, led by somebody from that APC state, which is Simon Ekpa, who is in Finland, dishing orders to his houseboys here to make everywhere ungovernable and so on. They will always try to lock everywhere down, whereas mainstream IPOB will now say no. And it now appears as if the two are fighting. Yeah. In addition to the fight that both of them seem to be fighting also against the federal government. So the scope of conflict now seems to be widening. It is problematic. That's why I said that it's not going to be easy getting them to agree. However, if they do, it's going to go a long way to secure the release of this our brother.
Okay, Honorable, please, just a few seconds before so that we'll take the last, for today. You're talking about Nnamdi Kanu and his release and the declaring call by the Ohanese Ndigbo, then asking the governors to come together and ensure that this man comes out. And a lot of people had alleged, or rather said, that when he was there, until now that he's out, he had always insulted all the big nuts and big wigs in the Southeast. And that is why so many of them are not looking his way.
Yeah, the thing is that it's not good to throw away the child with the bathwater. One thing we must acknowledge is, first and foremost, is our child, is our son. Yes, no matter the level of or degree of insult he has hurled on our elders, I'm not supporting it, but you understand, his safety should be paramount to us. You know, and injury to one should be injury to all, knowing fully well that the Igbo man is an endangered species in the Nigerian project. That is just the truth. You understand? So now, but it is not also right for us to turn around and also hate our own selves. You understand? We should do something. To me, I think that this call by the Ohaneze Ndigbo should have come much earlier than now. And by now, we should have been able to have made a lot of progress. Now that I also want to allude my voice and align myself to the call that made to the governors, especially about 3 of them now have not much to lose because they are serving out their 8-year term now. Now let them support Soludo. I know that the one in the Imo State will not. You know, there are those who benefit from crisis. You know, I'm not saying that he benefits from crisis, but his body language suggests so. You understand?
Like his boss. No. He's talking with his shoulder.
He's
Igbo and Ebony.
Yes,
Igbo
and Ebony. And you remember, most of these people, when they are very corrupt, they are looking for security and for protection. You understand? They feel that if they should not come out to talk about their own people, you know, these people will now go and dust their files and come up with all manner of accusation and persecution. But they are serving out their tenure. They should also be their brother's keeper.
All right, before we go, the Apex, the APC presidential candidate Tinubu has warned Nigerians against voting Atiku Abubakar of PDP, stressing that Atiku wants Nigerians to be hungry. And he also said that Atiku would sell Nigeria to his shady friends under the guise of privatization if elected president. I want to start with you. That is what Tinubu has said. He said that nobody should vote Atiku. One is going to make Nigeria hungry. Nigerians will be hungry under in his government. And not just that again. That he's going to sell all of you. He's going to sell all of you.
Nigeria is not only hungry. Nigeria is starving. You understand? Nigerians are starving. And
this is the poverty, I said so before, poverty capital of the world.
Yes, it has been classified.
APC has not refuted it.
Yeah, they are not.
It happened under their watch.
Yes,
and it is the same Tinubu that persuaded Nigerians, used every means and ways to ensure that his party, APC, got into power. In 8 years, they have squandered the goodwill of this nation, squandered our common patrimony, squandered our resources, reduced us to zero, and he's coming here to tell us what?
Yes, he's not denying it. He also boasted that he single-handedly made Buhari president.
That is why he's installed now.
Yes, so that's why he's installed. So you should also be bold enough to take responsibility of the maladministration of this very government. Now, that being said, you see, another thing is the APC government has already sold Nigeria. So we are only trying to recover Nigeria, which they have sold.
Which we cannot do while they are on seat.
Yes, they can.
Another APC administration will continue finishing this nation. There doesn't even be anything left.
That darkness cannot chase away darkness. So that is just the thing. So
neither can evil chase away
evil. So the thing is that they are now the APC that is calling on Atiku to declare how you're questioning his source of income, calling him corrupt and all that and all that. Remember, we also have a similar question mark hanging on yes. Nigerians are constantly asking, what is your source of income?
Okay.
What is
just in 2 minutes, Council, talking about Tinubu. Remember, talking about Tinubu, and yesterday we talked about it here, and then they have called the security agents to ensure that this man is arrested, Atiku Abubakar.
You see, Tinubu has no known past. Source of wealth, unknown. Educational background, unknown, questionable. Parentage, unknown. Nothing, there's nothing. Just tell me anything. Schoolmates, unknown. Academic institution attended, unknown. Source of wealth, unknown. Look at Tinubu telling us that he built Lagos. When? Lagos that had been the capital of Nigeria since when? That is to show you that Tinubu, everything that emanates from his mouth is falsehood. He put us into this mess. He simply wants to go there and consolidate on the evil and wickedness that his party, they have put us into in this nation.
All right,
God will not allow that.
Comrade, finally.
Well, much has been said, and I talked about this yesterday. Tinubu saying they should not vote for Atiku. He even said he said something about Atiku's health. But that will also leave you to ponder much about Tinubu's own health. Tinubu's own health. I'm not here to say to call him political, but I'm saying to wonder about Tinubu's health and then record. But what is happening is that we've entered the season of investigative journalism, and young people, young men like David Hondeyin, Michael Achimugu are beginning to show us things, the underbellies of some political gladiators, you understand? But the question should be, who is the candidate you want to vote for? What is his character? It reminded me something about that bishop who prayed for his congregation and said, since you want to vote for somebody, may the character of your children be like the character of the person you want to vote for.
To say
to chorus became a problem. That one of the congregants now matched his middle finger and the thumb, circled himself 3 times, and clicked.
Back to center.
You understand? Now, why a gesture like that? If it means some of Nigerians also want to perpetuate this evil. So let us use our PVCs. Let us decide on how to make this place better.
Let us use our PVCs. That is the final word from the comrade, and I'm sure that is what every other person here is saying. We've come to the end of today's program, Nigeria Today. Remember, tomorrow, Issues of the Moment will be coming your way again at exactly 11 a.m. And I'm glad you're still watching Living TV. From my far left is Honorable Emeka Iheduru Nzewozu. Thank you for being part of today's program.
Thank you so much. Viewers, go there and get your PVC. We do not plan that.
And Barrister Chukwuemeka Nwogo, thank you for being here today.
Thank you, moderator. Keep your PVCs safe and use your PVC to talk on the day of election.
And Comrade Nnamdi Elekwachi, we are glad having you.
I'm also glad. Keep your PVC. It is the bullets to score the bull's eye.
Keep your PVC. That's what all.
I want to know
which way Nigeria is heading to. Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Which way to go?
Which way to go?
I love my fatherland.
Oh yeah.
I want to know.
I want to know
which way Nigeria is heading to.
Many years after independence, we still find it hard to start. How long shall we be patient before we reach the promised land? Let's save Nigeria so Nigeria won't die.
Which way Nigeria?
Which way?
Which way Nigeria?
Tell me.
Which way to go? I love my fatherland.
Oh yeah.
I want to know.
Yes, I want to know
which way Nigeria is heading to.
every little thing that goes wrong. We start to blame the government. We know everything that goes wrong because we are part of the government. Let's save Nigeria so Nigeria won't die.
Which way Nigeria?
Which way?
Which way Nigeria? Which way to go?
Which way to go?
I love my fatherland.
Oh yeah,
I want to know
want to know
which way Nigeria is heading to.
inefficiency and indiscipline is ruining the country now. Corruption here, there and everywhere. Inflation is soaring high. Let's save Nigeria so Nigeria won't die.
Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Which way to go?
Which way to go?
I love my fatherland.
Oh sure, sure.
I want to know
Yes, I want to know
which way Nigeria is heading to.
we made mistakes during the oil boom, not knowing that was our doom. Some people now have everything, while many, many have nothing. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't fall.
Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Which way to go?
Which way to go?
I love my fatherland.
Oh yeah,
I want to know
yes I want to know
which way Nigeria is heading to.
green revolution is a reality. Let's give it a chance to grow. Let's join our hands to farm the land so we can have enough food to show. Let's save Nigeria so Nigeria won't die.
Which way Nigeria?
Which way?
Which way Nigeria? Which way to go?
Way to go?
I love my fatherland.
Oh sure,
I want to know
yes I want to know
which way Nigeria is heading to.
our ambition to be millionaires is running the country down. We all want to be millionaires and to live in the air. Oh, let's save Nigeria so Nigeria won't die.
Which way Nigeria?
Which way?
Which way Nigeria? Which way to go?
Which way to go?
I love my fatherland.
Oh yeah,
I want to know
yes we want to know
which way Nigeria is heading to.
Remember that a simple step is the beginning of a million miles. Let's start right now to repeat ourselves so as to make the country smile. Let's save Nigeria